Despite a bad cold and a hoarse voice due to the sub-zero temperature in the Belgian capital of Brussels, President Marcos delivers his remarks at the ASEAN-EU Commemorative Summit on Wednesday. He says the two regional blocs should go beyond declaring respect and support for the UNCLOS. The United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea is the legal framework for all activities in the oceans.
We need to see an effective application of the UNCLOS to address the maritime disputes and geopolitical rivalry in the Indo-Pacific to truly realize the still distant aspiration for the Indo-Pacific to become a sea of peace and prosperity for us all.
So what concrete measures can the EU and ASEAN take to ensure rule of law in the disputed areas? The President says they will have a stronger position to negotiate with global superpowers and call out violations. He did not mention China and the United States in his speeches or replies to questions posed by the press.
Now, because EU and ASEAN together comprise the largest, most well-organized regional aggregations, then that will be a very, very strong position to be able to negotiate, even individually for the Philippines or jointly with ASEAN or even with the EU.
The chief executive, meanwhile, also calls on the resumption of talks for the establishment of an ASEAN-EU free trade agreement and for the negotiations on the Philippine-EU FTA to further progress. Having an FTA means more trade and access to each other's markets. Top EU officials say that while they believe in having an FTA, the two regional blocs must first align their goals on various areas.
We believe in the globalization, but we think at the same time that we need to work for more common standards, more similar standards, to take more into account our common goals in terms of climate change, for instance.
The palace, meanwhile, claims the Philippines was able to bag investment pledges with European companies worth billions of pesos. Among them, a 4.7 billion peso investment from British consumer goods firm Unilever, which is gearing towards automating and digitalizing its operations in the Philippines. French shipbuilding firm ASEAN also renewed its commitment to its 1.5 billion peso shipyard development in the Philippines. ASEAN says the planned investment will create 500 direct and indirect jobs in the country. Spanish infrastructure and renewable energy firm Acciona, meanwhile, vows to invest in the country's renewable energy sector. While French firm Semaris expressed its intention to develop agrologistics in Tarlac's New Clark City. Rex Remitio, CNN Philippines, Brussels, Belgium.